back for part 2 of our board meeting covering the case of the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology. What are we investigating? Whether every track of this album could have a sister or mirror song that pairs perfectly with it. If you missed part 1 of this board meeting, no problem. The minutes have all been documented, so you can check out this video to get caught up to speed. But the topic of discussion for today's board meeting is the second half of the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology, tracks 17 to 31, and their respective pairings. So grab your magnifying glasses, consult your listening devices, and let's dive into decoding the Tortured Poets Department.
Who else decodes you?
Hello, my name is Bekah, and here on this channel you can find bite-sized inspo mainly to do with Taylor Swift. I've been a Swiftie since Taylor's debut album, and I'm also a musician who got my doctorate in music in the same year as Dr. Taylor Allison Swift, class of 22. So look out for videos chatting all about Taylor's music, mashups, playlists that I've curated, themed recipes, current happenings, and more. Let's get right back into the anthology. So track 17, The Black Dog, I paired with Daylight. I think the sound of it is similar to Daylight, and also these lyrics. So in Daylight she says, clearing the air, I breathed in the smoke. And that's similar to in The Black Dog, 6 weeks of breathing clean air. I still miss the smoke. There was also, in all of those best laid plans, you said I needed a brave man, then proceeded to play him until I believed it too. And in Hoax, she says, my best laid plan, your sleight of hand. I don't know, that's a small connection. I do feel like that lyric, clearing the air, I breathed in the smoke. So for that, I'm pairing it with Daylight. And I also feel like the songs have some similar musical influences.
I am someone who until recent events my love was as cruel as the cities I lived in.
But I need to spend more time in them to really examine those clues. I mean, The Black Dog coming after Daylight seems, I don't know, interesting, because she didn't use the black dog as a symbol for depression. I mean, it's in the song, it's a pub, it's a bar in London, but there was thoughts that she could be using it in that way, and for that to be opposition to Daylight, you know, Daylight and depression, and the, of course, the ideas of the songs are polar opposites in a lot of ways, because one is such a love song, and then this is a song about loss. For now, I'll pair it with Daylight, but happy to make adjustments to that. Track 18, I'm Gonna Get You Back. I paired this with Labyrinth. Somebody posted this on the comment section as well, and it blew my mind because I hadn't quite thought about it, but then the second I went back and listened, 100% heard it too. This person said the opening sounds similar to Labyrinth, and it really, really does. The openings are so similar here. I'll play just a few seconds. I mean, then it's completely not. Then it's very different. But listen to this. I mean, that's a little bit, Labyrinth has a little bit of those kind of alien sounds. Interesting, not related to this current track, but interesting. So I do feel like the openings sonically very, very similar. Again, there's these opposing kind of ideas. Labyrinth is a song about falling in love and being kind of a bit afraid about it. I'm falling in love again because of past experiences, totally understandable. But I'm Gonna Get You Back is about almost the opposite idea of deciding whether or not to get them back. Do you want them back? Do you want to get revenge? Not sure. She doesn't know whether she wants to be your wife or she wants to smash up your bike. She just doesn't know. Track 19, The Albatross, I paired with Ivy. Ivy's a very similar kind of feel to the sound.
Wise men once said, wild winds are death to the candle. Clover blooms in the fields, spring breaks loose, time is near.
And lyrics-wise, So in the Albatross, she says, and when that sky rains fire on you and your persona non grata, I'll tell you how I've been there too and that none of it matters. And then in Ivy, she says, so yeah, it's a fire, it's a blaze in the dark, and you started it. So I don't know, that idea of fire is interesting. And I do feel like the feel of both songs is similar. I feel like the Albatross has a very similar beginning and ending to Willow and Cardigan. Cardigan's music video ends with this really beautiful instrumental that then flows straight into Willow. It's really, really cleverly done. And that sound is also here in the Albatross.
Wise men.
Just very briefly and a little bit more spacey, I would say, but it's a similar.
I was your favorite.
It's such an interesting track. And then listen, here's the beginning of Willow. In the music video, it goes right into that sound as well for the beginning of the Willow music video, and then gets into the song. So definitely hear that sound. Those are my pairings for that. Track 20, Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. This is the song that started it all. My reel was about this because the little piano ditty at the end of Champagne Problems.
Your hologram stumbled into my apartment.
And it's so, I've always loved that because it sounds a little bit like you're playing the song at the piano and then you just kind of play around a little bit before leaving, you know? It feels so piano practice, or I don't know, like as a musician, as someone who's doodled around on instruments, it really struck me, and I loved that she kept that in the song. I always thought it was so interesting that she kept it in the song, because to me, it was almost like she was in the studio recording this, and in my mind, in my narrative of this, she's recording it in the studio and not even necessarily going for this take and just kind of playing at the end, like a little playful moment. And then she just like left it in. And she does that at the end of some tracks where she'll like include laughing at the end, or like, oh, that was so fun. Or even at the end of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, you know, when she's like, try and come for my job, you know, these kind of little additions at the end. So that has always struck me. And so the second I heard it in the song, I was like, wow, did she literally just take this little moment of play from the end of Champagne Problems and make a whole new song about it? I love it. I need to think a little bit more about if there's more of a connection between these two songs, between Champagne Problems and Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. I'm sure there is. And then the other song that I keep flowing into, I'm always making mashups in my head. That's why I love making mashups and sharing them with you all. I get ideas for a lot of them because I'm just singing a song, and I feel like a lot of you do this too because you make comments about it, and I love seeing them on my posts all the time. But I'll be singing one of these songs and then I'll just flow into another song. And for me, what's happening a lot right now is I'll be singing Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, and then I'll just start singing Last Kiss because it just flows right into it. I feel like Last Kiss could have quite an influence as well, but Champagne Problems is the clear mirror sister song to track 20. Track 21, How Did It End? The song is so beautiful. I am still in the process of even beginning to wrap my head around this song, but I paired this song with This Is Me Trying because for me, sonically, they feel in the same world.
How did it end?
And when I pair them together, it kind of kills me because both of these songs are really gut-wrenching, track 5 level devastation, because How Did It End is the track 5 of the second half of the anthology. So I think that's quite interesting. It's almost like we get 2 track 5s, and it pairs kind of well with So Long London, because it's like you're saying goodbye, but you're just wondering, how did it end? You're trying to think, you're trying to process, how did it end? It's happening again. How did it end? I can't pretend like I understand. How did it end? And just how that's phrased, that repetition of how did it end? How did it end? It reminded me of that phrase in This Is Me Trying. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. At least I'm trying. I feel like because she was saying in, how did it end? It's happening again. So clearly this is something that has been ongoing. She's been here before. She's had to deal with this emotions again. So I feel like I see this relationship of like, this is me trying. I've been trying for so long to make this relationship work. And we've been here before, had it end, and then tried again, and then had it end, and this has been happening. But now it is over. So trying to just get my head around how did it end. That's how I see these 2 songs relating. I'm not quite sure about it. I'm still working on the thesis for this one, but that's where I'm at with it right now. Track 22, So High School. For me, I immediately thought of Gold Rush with this song. I've heard of other people also mention 15, which makes a lot of sense. So High School, 15, I can definitely see why there would be comparisons. And I also I don't think the songs really work that well as a pairing, but So High School does remind me of Mirrorball. The sound of it reminds me of Mirrorball. I always picture a school gym and a disco ball creating that effect, that lighting effect in a room. All these people dancing with each other in a high school dance setting. That's the sound that I get from Mirrorball. It takes me, it transports me to that place. And So High School instantly put me in a similar place. Not the same one, maybe a high school gym 10 years earlier than I was thinking, 10 or 20 years earlier. It's got kind of like an 80s or 90s kind of old school. I feel like I picture high school boys in blue tuxes or something. And those are the musical influences I kind of see. But overall, overwhelmingly for me, I see Gold Rush. And I think it's because of a lot of the lyrics, a lot of the words that she's using, I think are very similar, but also just the way, the cadence of the flow of how she's saying these lyrics, it just kind of flows on. It's so good. But okay, so in So High School, she says, and in a blink of a crinkling eye, I'm sinking, our fingers entwined, cheeks pink in the twinkling light. Tell me about the first time you saw me. It's so cute, and I love the way it flows. And then literally these are the lyrics for Gold Rush: gleaming, twinkling, eyes like sinking, ships on waters, so inviting I almost jump in. So there's twinkling in both. There's eyes in both, a crinkling eye, a twinkling eye. There's sinking ships, and I'm sinking, our fingers entwined. And cheeks pink, which is like, but I don't like a gold rush. I don't like anticipating my face in a red flush. So it's like cheeks pink. I really think it's similar. It's so similar. So for me, that's my pairing. But I can definitely see other influences as well. But I don't know, the Gold Rush comparisons just, I cannot get over. Track 23, I Hate It Here. I love this song, I Hate It Here. It's so beautiful. I love her folksy vibes on this half of the album, especially. It's so nice, and I Hate It Here in the Lakes really seems to go hand in hand to me. The imagery of both songs is so similar, and I need a little more time. I've spent a lot more time in the first half of this album than the second half because I was editing my reaction of the first half, and now I'm editing the second half, so I'm spending a little more time on the second half of the songs. So I haven't properly thought through and processed these songs, but I made the caption of my mashup, because I've shared a mashup of this one so far. I made the caption, "Take me to the lakes because I hate it here." And to me, that's really how these songs go together. I hate it here, so I will go to secret gardens in my mind. People need a key to get to. The only one is mine. I read about it in a book when I was a precocious child. No mid-sized city hopes and small-town fears. I'm there most of the year because I hate it here. I hate it here. And take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. And there's a lot more similar lyricism I find in I Hate It Here. So in a future video, I'll do way more breaking down this song and how it fits so well with the tortured poets idea and the lakes and all of that. But for me, that's the clear concept, because I myself, I love movies, I love books, I love literature because of how it takes me to another world. It takes me somewhere else. So I love that she wrote this song, and I feel like it's just so similar of, take me to the lakes, take me away, or, take me to secret gardens in my mind because I hate it here and I want to go somewhere else. Track 24. We're getting through. Thank you, aIMee, I paired with Mean. I felt like this was pretty clear to me. I was like, oh, this is the Mean of the album. It's quite a tongue-in-cheek, petty song, but it's also a lesson in how Taylor has been able to take these past experiences of her life. I wrote 1,000 songs that you find uncool. I built a legacy which you can't undo. But when I count the scars, there's a moment of truth that there wouldn't be this if there hadn't been you. And that really reminds me of, the concept of mean is similar. It's not quite the same because I think mean is the idea of getting to that point, to get to a place of being able to do that, right? Mean is saying, someday I'll be living in a big old city and all you're ever going to be is mean. So she's imagining that one day she'll be big enough that you can't hit me and all you're ever going to be is mean. And this is after the fact. She's done the work. She is in the big city. She is big enough that you can't hit her. And she's really built this legacy that no one can undo. And she's taken those scars and those knockdowns and built them into, this incredible career. And it reminds me of when she sang the song at the Grammys. And she sang, and I love how she does this, she'll often change the lyrics at the Grammys to fit the situation. And so she's saying, someday I'll be singing this at the Grammys and all you'll ever be is mean. So the idea that this pain that was inflicted on me from what you said, what you did, that really knocked me down, I made a song about it. I turned it into something. I built something from it. And now I'm here singing the song at the Grammys. I made this into something that you can't take away from me. That's very much what Thank You, aIMee is saying. It's thanking aIMee for what they have done to teach Taylor, to get her to the point where she's been able to do this. And of course, wouldn't have been easy. It makes me think of her whole re-recording process, of how the devastation of losing her masters, of not being able to own her own work, her own music, and how she took that and she turned it into this whole re-recording project that has actually made her old music way more relevant and prevalent today than it ever could have been. And so she's just historically been able to take these things that would knock any person down and potentially would knock any person down for good. And she's gotten back up and done something incredible with it. And so I think it's a cool song in that sense. I think a lot of people with any of these punches that she's been dealt in life could have been knocked down for good, but she didn't take it. She didn't take it, and look what she's done, and look where she is today, and I hope it just continues for her. Track 25, I Look in People's Windows. So many people have also been commenting this, and I totally hear it. This song is so genius. I think this song is top tier writing, but I also think I really like it a lot because you can hear so clearly Death by a Thousand Cuts in this song. I look in people's windows transfixed by rose golden glows, and I look through the windows of this love even though we boarded them up. And just the cadence of the song is similar. I love the parallelism of these two songs and the idea of we looked through the windows of this love. So it's like you were in the house and now she's outside the house and now she's looking in people's windows to see if you're at the table. She's so clever. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time? It's just genius. Pure genius. Track 26, The Prophecy. I have a few that I have paired with this one. I think Invisible String, Dorothea, because of the ooh influences, and then Foolish One. So please, I've been on my knees, change the prophecy. Don't want money, just someone who wants my company. And Invisible String, isn't it pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me? So I think of it a little bit like two sides of the coin. So she is recognizing that there's this invisible string tying you to me. So it's almost like her actions aren't quite her own. But in the prophecy, asking like, please change the prophecy. All I want is someone who wants my company. Isn't that what we all want? I feel you, Taylor. I feel you. Such relatable content. So I think of it a little bit almost like you want to change that thread that's been dictated for you. You want to change it. You're begging for that to be changed because all you want is somebody to share your life with. But I also feel like I definitely hear the Dorothea ooh. There's all those instances where that comes in. And then also, I think Foolish One, that card lyric is so interesting. Cards on the table, mind play out like fools in a fable. And Foolish One, she says, my cards are on the table, yours are in your hand. I think overall I would connect it mostly to Invisible String because of the vibes, the folksy kind of vibes, and also because of the messaging. I feel like it's almost, I see that mirror happening of like, here's this invisible string, here's this, I feel like another word for invisible string could be almost prophecy, but she's saying, change it, please. Track 27, Cassandra, clear sister song for this is Mad Woman. I instantly heard Mad Woman in the sound of the song. A lot of those influences, I know a lot of people also heard that too, because I saw loads of comments about that. And lyrically, I was in my tower weaving nightmares, twisting all my smiles into snarls. They say what doesn't kill you makes you aware. What happens if it becomes who you are? It's so clever. And a mad woman, and there's nothing like a mad woman. What a shame she went mad. No one likes a mad woman. You made her like that. So almost that idea, like twisting all my smiles into snarls. It's like I imagine the smile like turning upside down, right? Like turning into a mad woman. And I also find it so interesting. Taylor does this so well where she takes these common phrases, but she'll change a little thing about it or twist it a little bit. And here she says, what doesn't kill you makes you aware. And the common phrase is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But she's not saying that. She's saying what doesn't kill you makes you aware. What happens if it becomes who you are? And so in my mind, that could almost be like, what doesn't kill you makes you a mad woman. I don't know. Like, that's how I see these two songs potentially pairing. Track 28, Peter. When I saw the track title, Peter, I did wonder if it could be about Peter Pan because she has referenced Peter Pan before in the song Cardigan. So in Cardigan, she says, try to change the ending, Peter losing Wendy. And in Peter, she says, lost to the Lost Boys chapter of your life. Forgive me, Peter. Please know that I tried. You said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. I mean, it's a constant refrain because it's a whole song now about Peter. I need to think more about these two songs, but for me, that was a clear pairing between the two. Track 29, The Bolter, is a really interesting song. I paired it with Getaway Car and Betty. Started with a kiss, oh, we must stop meeting like this, but it always ends up with a town car speeding out the drive one evening, but as she was leaving, it felt like breathing. And I wondered if this could play into the love triangle of folklore, Betty, August, and Cardigan. Because I almost would say August as well, because August has how she pulls up behind the mall, says, get in the car, they go and spend their summer together. But then in Betty, how James is telling Betty, I spent the summer with her, but I was thinking about you. And the worst thing he ever did was what he did to Betty. She said, James, get in, let's drive. Those days turned into nights. Slept next to her, but I dreamt of you all summer long. And that car is the getaway car. Jump in the car with somebody else. You were driving the getaway car. We were flying, but we'd never get far. Don't pretend it's such a mystery. Think about the place where you first met me. So I feel like all of these songs are interacting. August, Betty, Getaway Car, The Bolter. I feel like it can all weave together in this interesting story. I don't know. And I do feel like the sound of Betty is quite similar to The Bolter. So, track 30, second to last, Robin. I paired this with Seven, but I also feel influences of Peace sonically. This song, when I listen to Robin, it makes me want to cry. That song is so beautiful, and it feels so much like speaking to a child. Higher and higher, wilder and lighter for you. And that really makes me just think of a child on a swing. And in Seven, please picture me in the trees. I hit my peak at 7 feet in the swing over the creek. So good. And I also hear peace in Robin in this part. Okay, final track 31, The Manuscript. Had to be paired with Dear Reader. I mean, the titles alone, this is what, it makes me so happy that those are the final names of both of, her 10th studio album and her 11th studio album. The fact that she ended it with Dear Reader and The Manuscript. It's so interesting, actually, because it's like she ended Midnights with Dear Reader, this letter to us. She wrote us a letter, and then the manuscript, she wrote this manuscript and she gave it to us. So it's, there's so much parallelism in the concept itself of just the names. And I think, so Dear Reader is very much, she is advising us not to take advice from someone who's falling apart and to find another guiding light, not to hold her up on this pedestal now that she's been reaching these insane levels of fame. And then I feel like the manuscript is really, the manuscript feels like the whole anthology, right? And she's just pouring out her heart and the deepest thoughts from the very corners of her mind. I feel like she's put it all out there for us, and then she just gave it to us. And there's so much more fathoming and contemplating and processing to do with all of these songs, these two included. But yeah, that's the clear sister song for me. So those are my initial findings of the pairings that I would put together at this point in the investigation for the Torture Poets Department, the anthology. The next board meeting / video in our series will start decoding each track of the Torture Poets Department, starting with track number 1, Fortnight. So if you have any thoughts or questions about Fortnight that you would like to see covered in that meeting / video, then leave it in the comments below. I've linked my updated playlist below with all of the tracks from the Tortured Poets department and their respective pairings. Again, just based off of the initial findings from the investigation. As more evidence comes in, the playlist will definitely be updated. There's so much in this album to investigate, to explore, and to discover, so I'm really, really excited about the series. If you are too, and you're interested in coming along for this investigation, then give this video a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss notifications for future board meetings covering this case and other bite-sized Swiftie inspo. You can also check out my Instagram and my Dear Reader newsletter for updates and even more fun Swiftie content. I'm so happy to connect with you and to embark on this investigation with you. For now, I'm officially declaring this meeting adjourned, so I will see you at the next one. Bye!